Have you ever thought about the times when a wrong decision led you down an unexpected path, filled with consequences that could have been avoided? Proverbs 20 isn't just a collection of ancient wisdom. It's a practical guide to transforming the way you make decisions. But here's the secret no one tells you. Applying these truths can change how you approach every choice in your life, from the simplest to the most challenging ones. The most surprising part of this chapter is that, contrary to popular belief, success doesn't come from haste or brute strength. It comes from patience, honesty, humility, and most importantly, from knowing how to listen and learn from others. And if you think you already know everything about making good decisions, prepare yourself. What comes next could be the key to finally understanding how your choices are shaping your future in ways you never imagined. Lesson 1. Avoid impulsive decisions. Making decisions impulsively is a trap we all fall into at some point. The rush to act to quickly solve a situation often leads to choices we later regret. Proverbs warns us about the dangers of being swept away by emotions, especially when under external or internal pressure. True wisdom lies in taking a step back, taking a deep breath, and reflecting before acting. Applying this in daily life is simpler than it seems. When faced with an important decision, make an effort to avoid responding immediately. Ask yourself, am I acting with clarity or reacting impulsively? Sometimes just waiting a few hours or even a day makes all the difference. This pause allows us to see the options more clearly and saves us from the burden of a rash decision. And in the next step, we'll explore the importance of planning with patience, as we'll see in the next lesson. Lesson 2. Patience brings lasting results. Patience is one of the greatest treasures we can cultivate, especially when it comes to making decisions. In today's world, where everything seems to happen quickly and answers are just a click away, waiting might seem hard. But Proverbs teaches us that haste is often the greatest enemy of success. True strength is in knowing when to wait for the right moment because it's patience that brings the most solid and lasting results. Imagine you're investing in something important, like learning a new skill or starting a business. If you rush, you might get quick results, but over time, impatience can compromise the success. On the other hand, if you invest time in learning, practicing, and adjusting the details, the results will be much more solid. So, the next time you feel the urge to act impulsively, stop and think, will this step really take me further? And with that, let's move on to the next lesson, where we explore the value of honesty in our actions. Lesson 3. Be honest in your transactions. Honesty is the foundation of healthy relationships and business practices. Proverbs 20 verse 10 reminds us that deceptive weights and measures are detestable to the Lord. Think about how a lack of honesty may seem advantageous in the short run, but ultimately causes more harm than good. Whether at work, in personal life, or in small interactions, integrity will always prevail in the long run. Applying honesty daily starts with the little things. For example, when dealing with a client or a partner, be clear about deadlines, costs, and expectations. Even if a lie or omission seems easier, it jeopardizes your reputation and the relationships you build over time. Trust is hard to rebuild once broken, so by being truthful and transparent, you cultivate respect and credibility. And now, thinking about the impact of honesty, it's important to remember that patience also helps in making better decisions, as we'll see in the next lesson. Lesson 4. Find strength in adversity. We all go through tough times, but it's in adversity that we truly show who we are. Proverbs 20 verse 27 reminds us that while challenges are inevitable, it's our spirit that gives us the strength to overcome them. It's not about avoiding suffering, but how we deal with it. A strong person isn't someone who never falls, but one who gets back up and finds the strength to keep going. How can you apply this? When facing a challenge, instead of focusing on the pain or obstacle, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? Every hardship brings a lesson, and the sooner we recognize that, the quicker we overcome adversity. Also, by strengthening the spirit, we also strengthen our ability to help others, which is an important theme for the next lesson. Learning to listen and learn from others. Lesson 5. Learn to listen. Many times we listen to respond, not to understand. Proverbs 20 verse 12 reminds us that ears and eyes were made to perceive more than just the surface. True wisdom comes from listening carefully and observing deeply. In a world where everyone is eager to speak, the real leaders and wise ones are those who know how to listen. How can you practice this? The next time someone speaks to you, whether in a work meeting or an informal conversation, give them your full attention. Turn off your phone, look them in the eyes, and if needed, repeat what was said to show you understood correctly. This builds a respectful environment and opens the door for more effective communication. And speaking of listening, another important aspect is to work diligently, which we'll discuss in the next lesson. Lesson 6. Diligent work builds futures. There are no shortcuts when it comes to building something lasting. Proverbs 20 verse 4 teaches us that the lazy man never finds success because he fails to prepare properly. Diligent work, on the other hand, is the key to any achievement. Even when conditions aren't favorable, those who consistently put in the effort end up reaping the most solid rewards. Sometimes, it's hard to see the value of immediate effort, but the long-term harvest makes the sacrifice worth it. How can you apply this? If you have an important goal, like starting a business or learning a new skill, understand that success doesn't happen overnight. Rather than looking for a quick fix, commit to steady work every day, even if it's small steps. The sum of these small daily efforts will lead to big results. And as you work consistently, you'll find great satisfaction, which also reminds us of the importance of letting go of revenge, as we'll discuss in the next lesson. Lesson 7. Flee from revenge. Revenge may seem sweet in the moment, but it's a flame that consumes the one who carries it more than the one it's directed toward. Proverbs 20 verse 22 reminds us that true strength lies in trusting that time and justice will take care of wrongdoings instead of seeking retribution. Holding grudges and seeking revenge only traps us in a cycle of pain and bitterness. How can you practice this in daily life? When someone hurts you or wrongs you, choose forgiveness, even if it feels difficult. This doesn't mean you have to passively accept mistreatment, but it means choosing not to be a slave to anger. A simple, "I'll let this go" can free you and open the door to a lighter and more peaceful future. And with that, we transition into the next lesson, which is about seeking wise counsel to make more informed decisions. Lesson 8. Seek wise counsel. Making decisions alone can feel like an act of independence, but it's actually risky. Proverbs 20 verse 18 reminds us that solid, successful plans are built with the help of wise counselors. Sometimes, it's difficult to admit that we need help, but seeking guidance from people with more experience can be the key to avoiding mistakes and achieving success faster. How can you apply this? The next time you have an important decision to make, seek the opinion of someone you admire and trust. Could be a mentor, a longtime friend, or even a professional. Ask questions, listen carefully, and evaluate how the advice aligns with your values. This practice not only enriches your choices, but also prepares you to embrace the bigger purposes behind every situation, which is the theme of our final lesson. Lesson 9. Guard your heart. The heart, metaphorically speaking, is the center of our emotions and decisions. Proverbs 20 verse 5 reminds us that the desires and intentions of our hearts are deep and often hard to understand. If we don't care for it, our decisions can be distorted by selfish or fleeting emotions. True wisdom comes from knowing what's really going on inside and acting in alignment with what truly matters, not what's temporary. How can you practice this? Take some time to reflect on your deepest desires. Ask yourself, am I making this decision based on what truly matters to me or on impulse? By understanding your motivations, you're able to make decisions that align with your values. This brings balance to your life, which leads us to the next lesson. Practicing humility, as we'll discuss in the next step. Lesson 10. Practice humility. Humility is a virtue often underestimated, but it is the one that allows us to grow truly. Proverbs 20 verse 29 teaches us that honor comes not from strength or youth, but from the wisdom gained over time. Humility allows us to recognize that there is always something new to learn, and that no one is above another, regardless of position or age. The humble person accepts guidance from others, and in doing so, becomes wiser and better equipped to make sound decisions. How can you put this into practice? When you receive feedback or guidance, even if you don't fully agree, stop and reflect. Humility doesn't mean agreeing with everything, but it means being willing to consider the other's point of view and learn from it. This creates an environment of mutual respect and opens the door for continuous growth. As we practice humility, we become more capable of making decisions that benefit not only ourselves but also those around us. So now, after all these lessons, the question is, what will you do with this knowledge? Will you continue letting pride or impulsiveness guide your path? Or will you start applying the principles of Proverbs 20? The choice is yours, but here's the challenge. Start today. Pick one of these lessons and apply it to your life within the next 24 hours. You can start by practicing patience, evaluating your friendships, or simply planning better before acting. Now tell me, which of these lessons impacted you the most? Share your thoughts in the comments and let's grow together. And don't stop here. Subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and keep exploring these teachings that have the power to transform lives. Every video is a step toward a wiser, more balanced journey. Are you ready to take the next step?